I'm smiling because we just had a discussion as to how I don't ask properly for money. But that guy needs to be paid. It costs money. These are good shows. We have great guests. And today the guest is Brian Lilley, who is providing all of the cover stories in the Sun about this election. And of course, the election is something that's preoccupying some people, but not everybody. But tell me where we are halfway through the election. We don't have the debate yet. And the polls are saying sort of roughly, they're roughly tied. And I'm hearing that, and I hear this anecdotally, women don't like Poilievre. I know women who say, the government has stunk, but I'm still going to vote for Liberals because they don't like Poilievre. What's going on out there?
I don't get it. I'll say this. There's two groups of polls. You've got Innovative and Abacus data, which have them more or less tied. Innovative has the Conservatives ahead by 1. Abacus has them tied. You've got Leger, Ipsos, and others, or Angus Reid in part of that group. Over on the other side, 6 to 7 point lead for the Liberals. Two groups have moved towards Mark Carney. Women, for sure, and voters over 55. And so you've kind of got two elections going on. You've got the over 55, and their main issue is Donald Trump. They're very concerned about Donald Trump and the tariffs. And people under 55, very concerned about housing affordability, the cost of living, jobs, the regular issues that the Liberals have stunk on for the last 10 years. But the older group, they're like, I'm worried about Donald Trump, so I'm going with this guy who's an economist. You know who else is an economist? Peter Navarro, the guy telling Donald Trump to put in tariffs. He's got a PhD in economics from Harvard and taught at University of California for decades.
And lots of economists are saying, for instance, in Argentina, it was going to go down the toilet when they got someone in there like a Trump who says, I'm going to cut back in government, cut back on all the waste, and Argentina is on fire. So really, but the answer to both of those questions you said, people worried about Trump and tariffs, and younger people worried about how to get a job, how to buy housing, that's all to rebuild Canada. If we had someone say, here's what we have to do to rebuild Canada, pipelines, oil extraction, everything else, forget about some zero sum, then we're going to have a country that can work.
Well, a lot of people are just looking at Mark Carney and saying, an economist, former bank governor, he must know what he's talking about. You can still have bad policies with those guys, see Peter Navarro and tariffs, but Pierre Poilievre actually has a plan that would rebuild Canada. Stephen Harper, an economist, came out with a big endorsement just the other day at a massive rally in Edmonton and said, look, I've hired, and both of these guys have worked for me, and I'm endorsing Poilievre, not Carney. But voting is an emotional thing. It's instinct and emotion, and it's not people sitting around examining policies, because if they were, they wouldn't be going with the Liberals right now. Watch this. Mark Carney can't say 3 words, oil, gas, or pipeline. He talks about conventional energy. He never mentions those words.
Right. And speak to British politicians about them. They say worse things about them. Brian Lilley, thanks very much. 3 minutes. To those of you who have subscribed and donated, a heartfelt thank you. You're keeping us on the air. If you're watching and you haven't, please try to do so, because 4 years ago we started this show because there needed to be independent analysis. Now more than ever, with the Online Harms Act, once that gets into law, it's been passed once by the House, there are going to be hundreds of bureaucrats censoring the news in Canada, censoring this show. We need to keep it on the air. Thanks for your support.